Hello, all. Welcome again. Wise Up coming at you. Here's a great show coming at you today. We have TJ Dixon, Speco Technologies. Hold the applause. Okay. So,
For myself?
yeah, no, you get the applause, TJ. So, folks, I can't thank you enough. I mean, thousands of you have been tuning in. You've been looking at us on Spotify, Apple iTunes, Anchor, and other streaming services. We greatly appreciate it. The folks at Wise Up, we can't thank you enough. We can't get these things out there quick enough. So we greatly appreciate our guests coming to us and asking them to, describe what it is out there that we could educate customers on. As we're living in this world together right now, it's very difficult to go out and see people face to face. So here we are. This could be, again, streamed on Apple iTunes, Anchor, or Spotify. Wise Up is also capable to be downloaded on YouTube and could be found on the Wise Components channel. So without further ado, I'd like to give a brief introduction. Speco Technology has been around 60 years, celebrating this year 60 years of innovation and technology. Started making speakers, and TJ could elaborate on that better than I can, but now we're talking about cameras and access control and even kiosks that could tell people how many occupants are in a building and temperatures with the mask on. I mean, come on, folks. You need it. Get it. Let's hear from TJ firsthand. So TJ, welcome. Thank you for joining us on Wise Up.
Oh, thank you for having me and Speco. We really appreciate it. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you. Let me ask you this question, TJ. So, you are the VP of Sales and Marketing for Speco Technologies. You were born there, and that's where you started your gig, or where'd you begin, and what brought you to Speco, and what gets you excited out of bed in the morning, coming to work, and educating people on the products that Speco is bringing to the table?
Oh, that's great, and thank you. It's a great question. It's funny. The thing that obviously always motivates me and probably motivates everybody is your family. You got to get out. You got to get to it, get to work, and it's people. I like to deal with people, and as somebody who's in sales and marketing, I deal with people every day, and it's something different every day too. I'm not a person who could probably be an accountant and sit down at a desk and do data entry all day. It's just not my personality. So I like to do different things during the day and talk to different people and go through some spreadsheets and do all those things. So it's multifaceted. So sales and marketing really kind of brings it
Agreed.
home. So you're into it. So you get it and you're doing podcasts. That might be my next game. So we'll see what happens.
Right, agreed.
If you let me get through this one, you may just hang it up and say, you know what, that's it. So, but anyway, I've been in the industry for quite some time now. So I've been in since 1996. I started with a company called Fire Burglary Instruments, or a manufacturer of burglar alarm keypads and accessories and things like that. And I've kind of gone through that. So I've gone through manufacturing side. I spent some time a fair amount of time in security distribution. And then came out of the industry for about a year. I worked for a company called Olympus America. You may know them for digital cameras. I think the digital camera side may have gone out by now, but that was quite some time ago. Right. Because after Olympus, I was there for about a year. I came to Speco about 16 years ago. So I've been here for quite some time. I've seen a lot of changes. You and I were just talking before. We kicked off a little bit here and talking about VHS tapes, right, and how it used to be recorded.
Real estate, right? Real estate.
Going through a scene and the guy was there 1 second and he was gone. How could you tell who it was? And
right.
Yeah, so we've come such a long way. And as you described, when you talk about video surveillance and cameras and things like that, you're up to 4K resolution. So the TVs that you're watching at home, you see these beautiful images, and you can zoom in on it. It's getting closer to that. It's certainly getting closer to some of those types of thrillers or law and orders there. So
it's amazing how competitive your organization is and has been innovative over the years, and American owned and family owned, if I might add. Right? Is it the third generation that owns Speco Technologies?
Yeah, family. I'm not part of the family, but as the Kellers and Mother Pearls. They have been the owners for quite some time. They did have a partner way back when, but they have had it was actually on September 10th of 2001, the day before September 11th. They actually bought out the prior owners, and so it was a they were in the city at that time and made that transition. But at any rate, so, but since then have been completely family owned, and it's really a great place to work. It's innovative, like you're saying. We have a lot of technology folks on staff here, a lot of software engineers, hardware engineers that are trying to put together the best type of solutions for customers, because, like any good salesperson, it's not, what product you have and how can you force somebody to buy it. You can't, unless they have a need for that. They have a pain point that they have to solve, like, COVID. It's, the temperature sensors, masks. Is somebody wearing a mask? Who's coming in my building? Is it TJ or is it somebody else?
Right.
Have I verified them through access control and through cameras?
And it's such a polluted market with, knockoff items that anybody could buy on Google somewhere or Amazon. And, your company's standing behind the product. So it's a quality product. It's been around for 6 decades. Not many people could say that. And it's American owned and operated. So that's, another plus for those, what we've seen in the last several months due to COVID, limited supplies of certain things that are manufactured and elsewhere, especially, for those that are here in the States. It's very important that we mention that to you all. I mean, this is not some fly-by-night company. This is somebody that's trying to stay ahead of the game. Some of the products that you had shared with me, I'm quite impressed, and that doesn't happen easily. So I'll let you continue. I don't want to steal your thunder.
No, you're not stealing my thunder at all. I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure when somebody knows as much about it that I do, and that doesn't work here. So it means you put some time into. I appreciate it. But no, it's really a convergence of technology. So you have access control, video surveillance, temperature sensors, audio, and that's like where we grew up. So speco, and a lot of people say speco because they don't understand the first time maybe they hear of us, but it's speco. It derived from Speaker Company many years ago. So. But now we've evolved so much. We have a lot of these technologies that we're putting together, and we've been quite successful because we're a manufacturer that can tie several technologies together under one umbrella. Whereas there's a lot of technology out there right now that people do a nice job with, like access control and video, but they are specialized in those areas, and they need something to tie it together, like licensing or something like that, or some type of a integration piece that could be, a little bit of a stumbling block to installation. So these systems have to talk to each other and be interoperable. And when you're trying to combine two different manufacturers together, sometimes they just don't do that well, as we know. So, but it's all great stuff, and I'm certainly, very excited to bring it to your audience today.
No, thank you. I like the fact that when we were talking earlier, we were talking about how the evolution, not only from your company but the industry in its entirety. What the abilities of certain cameras can do today, and, certain access control, and how you were saying how it marries together so well with the products at a great price point too. So that's the other thing, because you open your checkbook and just pray to God that you have enough money to cover with some of these systems. And then some of them are just dirt cheap, and that's a reason why they're dirt cheap, so you fit right in a nice cost-effective, area where it's a quality brand at a fair price. So when you talk about the integration between the cameras and access control, and is it somewhat seamless as far as when you're working with other manufacturers, or what are the challenges that you see or you find?
It depends, and it's a great question, because when it comes to speco, of course, because we're manufacturing and we have everything tied together, for us, as an example, when we tie access control and video surveillance together, it's seamless because it's an out of the box kind of connection.
Turnkey.
So,
yeah, it's turnkey.
I can put it in. It's one simple license that you have that's inexpensive, and it just ties it in. And I could put up to 60 NVRs on one system with one small license fee. So it's very simple, and our stuff talks to each other. So it's not an issue of is it going to work or not. It's definitely going to work. So when you put it together, you're going to be able to associate cameras with doors. So if somebody kicks in a door, I'd be able to review that video after the fact, or somebody presents a credential, a thumbnail pops up of that person walking through the door. Those are the types of things that make it a lot easier. Now, when it comes to working with other manufacturers, there are some things that you can do to make it a little bit easier. So On the IP side of things, if we were to sell speco cameras on somebody else's maybe server, or like an Exact Vision or something like that, makes a third party, makes a really large scale application. And there's compliances like ONVIF. We're ONVIF Profile S, and that just basically means that we could talk to other people's products, and then we can make that handshake, and it's pretty seamless handshake there. But you do have to have some compliance between and get some commonalities to say, okay, this camera is going to work. Every feature in I may have more features than ONVIF can handle, but 98% of the features are going to work. So maybe
right.
An analytic or something may not work, but at least you can get the camera up and running, and you can have a pretty robust system.
Yeah, no, that's great points you make. I mean, one of the things that's going on is it's front of everybody's mind. It really, it's unfortunate, whether it be COVID or the riots that are breaking out across America and even parts of the globe. These deterrents, whether it be fences or lighting. I mean, that's great, but these certain things that are happening, it's good to have some quality brand cameras to try to apprehend these people. Because these things are happening. It's like you turn on the news every single day and something else is transpired, and it's like, no, this is a made to movie. This is not reality. But unfortunately, folks, it really does exist, and it, I can condemn all hate and evil, and I know you do as well. But at the end of the day, it's still happening, and to get quality brands out there like yourself, like this speco cameras, to be able to try to not only be a deterrent, but also help in the apprehension of some of these heinous people. That's commendable what you guys are doing, what your organization is doing. And then you have the whole aspect of COVID now, and all the different facets that people are trying to, figure out how to get back to work. There's certain countries that are looking at COVID and saying, if we, do the social distancing, we do the plexiglassing, we do all these other things, we'll be back in the office on Tuesday, whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's probably going to be a few years. So talk to us about the new product that you guys at speco are talking about, the O2 TML, if you will.
Oh, absolutely, I'd love to. So the O2 TML is a temperature. It's an elevated skin temperature detector. It's also a mask detector, and to see if somebody's wearing a mask. And it also does facial recognition. So I'm going to take just a second here, and I'm going to get to a slide, and I'll do my best to describe it for the folks who are just on an audio feed right now.
And again, folks, if you are listening to the audio, we will do our best to describe it. But if you go to the Wise Components YouTube channel, you will be able to see the full video. So you'll be able to see what TJ is describing as well. So again, that's wisecomponents.com YouTube channel. Or again, checking out, keep on listening to Wise Up. Go ahead, TJ. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. You're good. I'm just going to share the screen here. I can figure this out. Share. And share. Hoping that Kathy, able to see this slide?
Yep, it's coming in nice and clear.
Okay. The slide that you're viewing, is it my multi-factor authentication access control? Or is
multi-factor? No, it's multi-factor authentication access control. Talk about flubbing words.
Okay, no, that's okay. All right. So I'm just going to, sorry about this. I'm flipping back here. There we go. So basically what we're looking at, and I'll try to describe it as best I can, but this is a tablet. So it's basically, it almost looks like an iPad or an Android tablet. It's about 6 inches wide by about 12 inches high. And it's either wall mounted, can be put on a pole mount, a floor mount or a desktop mount. So it's a variety of different things. So somebody, if you can imagine, as somebody's coming into maybe a restaurant or a retail environment, even our office here, we use this here at Speco. So when we come in every morning, we're going to get checked. And there's 3 different things that we're checked for. The first thing is it's going to look at our face and it recognizes, okay, this is TJ's coming in the building, so I'm in a database. So it says, all right, it's TJ. And then the second thing it says is, is TJ wearing a mask? Okay, TJ's wearing a mask, check. We're going to check that box. And then finally, elevated skin temperature. It actually tells me on the screen what my skin temperature is. Today I came in, I was 97.9, spot on. All those 3 factors hit and my door released. So I was able to come in. We have it with an additional credential, though, that you have to scan your key card as well. But I have all those factors. I walked in the door, and things are great. So the nice part about this is it's extremely flexible, right? So we want to make sure there's everything's, and Anthony, I'm sure you're familiar with this too, but as you come and you want to go to a restaurant here on Long Island, they're at about, I think, 25% capacity right now.
Right.
And it's a requirement that everybody who walks in that door has to have a mask on. So I could turn off if I'm not concerned about the temperature and I'm not concerned about who exactly is walking through the door. I could turn those 2 parameters off and I could just select my mask. So when somebody walks up, detects that they're wearing a mask, gives them the okay, and then maybe the server or somebody who's there can allow those people through, or it can trigger the door to unlock. It could do those things. And then you can, again, any variety of ways you can go through and have people do that. And then if it's being used in a setting, let's say, maybe like a stat health, one of those walk-in health clinics where you walk in, it could be set up in a vestibule if somebody walks in and we're looking for the mask and the skin temperature. So we have those 2 checked. When they come in, I want to notify somebody. So when somebody walks through the door and it says, okay, they're wearing the mask and that's great, but their elevated skin temperature is a little bit too high. So you can set a low and a high temperature. So let's say they set it for 100.4, somebody comes in, they're 100.5. It's going to send an email or a text message to whomever is the operator of the system. And they can be behind a PC, so they can be safe. And it has 2-way audio. And I can communicate with that person and say, hey, can you just step to the left? Because we're going to give you some secondary screening. And then they can do that and just verify that the temperature is right. And this unit is accurate to within a 0.5 degree Fahrenheit. And then we can tell the person, hey, can you just step to the left? Because we don't want that person sitting next to the person, in the emergency room or in the area that just needs stitches, right? So we want to keep them away from each other. So this is a great way to do that. And it's at a cost-effective price.
And TJ, you were telling me last time we spoke about the calibration of the device. So if you could walk us through that a little bit.
So the unit itself doesn't require any calibration when it comes to the sensor. So it has what's called a Melexis onboard. It's an onboard sensor that is self-calibrating. So as long as it's on an indoor environment, so you want to put it in a vestibule, inside in our case, we're in a little bit of a hallway. And then when that's in a fairly ambient temperature that stays pretty constant, 70 plus degrees or so, and people can walk up to it and there's no calibration, so it's very low maintenance. So that's really nice part of that. So there are some units out there that you have to calibrate that unit often. Ours, you don't have that maintenance piece.
Oh, that's huge. Another reason why to work with you, right?
Yeah, try to make it easy. Definitely try to make it easy. As easy as you can. And the enrollment is very simple. So it's just a standard GUI that's easy for almost anybody to operate.
So now I ask you this: when you were talking about the people counting, is the device doing that, or is that an integration with your security cameras in lockstep with? Because if let's say a restaurant or an office space or wherever it is, that device, the O2 TML, is stationary at the front entrance, but it's not in the building. So like, how does it know? Is it just because there might be another egress? So though people checked into that spot, they might have checked out elsewhere. So how does the 2 marry?
So yes, that's a great question too. So that actually, so now the O2 TML is going to operate independently, and it can integrate with an access control system via WeGAN inputs and outputs. So that's going to trigger the door so it lock or unlock. When it comes to an analytic, like you're talking about people counting and line crossing, fence line detection, those things, that's a separate camera going to an NVR, network video recorder. those two would tie together. And then I can do some people counting where I can say where I know 50 people came in, and then I can look at the screen and then I can see 25 people went out. Then I can understand, okay, then I just do the math. I say, okay, there's 25 people, in the facility right now. So that's what I would use. You would use independent cameras and analytics through an NVR to complement what the O2TML is doing.
Now, that could be deployed with other brands. I mean, we want to go speco, but would that be, because you said it's completely independent, you could then mesh that with other.
Yeah, the O2TML can stand alone. It doesn't even need a surveillance system to do it. So you could do that without even putting it to a network if you don't want to. You could just hook a laptop up to it, do your configuration, unplug the laptop, and then when people walk up to it and you're just setting it for mask, it's just going to ring off when somebody has a mask. It'll give an audible message at the device and say, hey, you're not wearing your mask, put your mask on, and then it'll alert them. So, but yeah, so so that device, again, through that weekend input or output, can be used with somebody else's system. If they already have an access control system installed, of course, yeah, absolutely could do that.
No, that's terrific. I got my mask right here, so I'll put my mask on.
You got a nice one. I like it.
So, I think we could talk for days about the products that you guys are bringing to the table again. Any trainings coming up or virtual events that you could mention to our listeners?
Absolutely. So what we do have is I have two webinars that are happening, and they're going to be focused on analytics. So we have one, and I'll send you this information as well, Anthony, so you have it, but I have one on October 6th and October 20th. We're going to do the analytics. So this is really important because with analytics and line crossing and people counting, it's been such a a popular thing for us where people are, it's a high demand type of item. Those O2TMLs we sell, we're selling tons of them, and it's and they're items that kind of don't expire. So when people say, I want to spend all this money on this tablet, this temperature tablet, what happens when it all goes away? Well, then you can still use it as a facial recognition camera. When somebody comes in, I can know that you just use it as one parameter. So it never goes away. So we do have that. And so we have those two that are happening. I'm always available. So if there's anybody on here that says, hey, I might have an opportunity, I want to get, dig in a little bit deeper onto that temperature panel, whatever it might be, or access control, anything, video surveillance, I'm always available to do something separate for you. So don't feel like you're handcuffed into just the dates that we have available. I'd be happy to conduct a webinar, a training, anything like that for anyone on the call. I'm happy to do it and go through.
That's terrific. We look forward to that. I think we should definitely talk about that at Wise Components as well and bring that to the table. I think our customers that we support for not 60 years, but we're celebrating 45 years this year. So we're catching up. But in any case, again, TJ, thank you so much for joining us today on Wise Up. That could be listened to and found at Spotify, Apple iTunes, and Anchor, or however you stream. Don't forget to check out all the Speco products at TJ, if you will.
www.specotech.com. You can check out all of our products there. And of course, we have social media. You can catch us on YouTube and Instagram, Facebook. We got them all. So
awesome.
So love to hear.
And we'll tag all these things to this episode. And folks, we can't thank you enough. Keep on listening. We greatly appreciate all of you out there. Be sure, if you like this episode, to comment on it on Apple, Anchor, all the other streaming services and platforms out there, whatever you're listening to. I'm Anthony Romeo. This is Wise Up. You've been listening to TJ Dixon of Speco Technologies and all they have to offer. So again, thanks again, folks. Bye now.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Anthony.